we can begin there. We are, I'm sorry, I'm just getting everything kind of set up right now. We are going to be going through answering questions, a lot of questions today, and hoping to support you in that way, and doing demos based on your questions. This isn't a formal presentation. We have a module that will be dropping that link for you here, so you can go back and watch it. But I wanted to show just a few workarounds and workflows, and then answer questions and make it a little more personal that way to make it hopefully helpful. I do want to start off though with sharing the PUSD website, the PD website. And so I'm just getting it all set up here. And then I'm going to screen share. Let's see. So I can start with that. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm on the district website, and it was, Kelly, can you help me out there? Was this sent in the email, or do we have a shortened URL on this?
Yeah, the shortened URL is the bit.ly BTS Summit. I can drop it in the chat.
Okay, thank you. I'm just, my computer, just once I start opening up all these windows, yeah, my Wi-Fi is slowing down. Here we go.
Also, Lisa, while you're talking, I'm going to invite people to drop their questions in the chat. And that way we can like start seeing what their questions are around Meet to kind of drive the conversation after you share this. Does that sound okay?
Yes. I do see YouTube questions that I can help with. The question about the privacy. The students aren't on the video when you're live streaming to YouTube. So there's no faces for kids. So they're not recorded. So that doesn't break any privacy rules for that. Plus your answer was perfect with the with the way you said it. Yes, sorry. Thinking slowly here. All right, so we had our back to school summit, and it was, I just want to share this with you so that you can get familiar with the architecture, so that when you're searching for some learnings to come back to, this is something that can really meet your needs. I apologize, it's still loading. Here it goes, a little slow today. We did it in 5 days of structure. We started large with systems and structures, and then went to, in that systems and structures was like how to find your kids to find you. What is your home base? How are you sharing your assignments? So it's something like agendas and where you're kind of housing everything. We started with clever information that day. And if you scroll down for that day, you'll see that it goes all the way down. You can see more here. These were the slides. And if you'd like to see the slides large, if you hover over them, this pops them out, and you click that, you can see the slides in large view. Down here is a video of the webinar, the 1 hour live session, where we walked through the slides and did the training. That's available for you. And then there's also this resource, and this was like a little bit longer deep dive into all of the topics that we talked about in systems and structures. So there's a text set for you to explore where all the links are kind of collected in one place. It's kind of a handy way to access. Well, the slides were linked as well, just another way, multiple ways depending on your learning style, you can get that information. If you scroll down again, inside of systems and structures were modules, 1 hour little specific modules. For example, we had a module on Clever. And if you want to open this slide deck, you can open this, and there's video tutorials within that slide deck. There's one on Google Classroom. There's one on Seesaw getting started. There's one on Google Sites, Bitmoji Classroom, and you can see how that goes all the way down in EL students, supporting them in remote learning. The same goes for the structure for each day. So day 2 was about Smart Start. And again, here are the slides. And that's about how to start your year off with, getting to know each other, routines, procedures, versus just starting in day 1 with content. Let's get everyone really used to the technology. Day 3 was lesson and unit planning. And that's just about teaching asynchronously, mostly. How do you build those? We do touch a little bit about synchronous learning. just to identify the difference and how you would coordinate those lessons. Day 4 was communication, and that included synchronous instruction and ways to communicate. And specifically, Scott dove into how to communicate during Zoom calls. So later today when we have Zoom, I'm sure that will come up again. This is a good resource for that. And then the last day was assessment and grading. And again, each day was recorded hour-long webinar. That recording, there's a deeper dive here with lesson designing and communication and assessment ideas, tons of links and resources through those. They're kind of a rabbit hole. This communication one has a lot of parent communication. Very important that you do check out ways to support your parents to help their children while they're learning. And then we have, again, all of the 1 hour little modules that are built out. Now you'll see on communication, which was day 4, we have the new Google Hangouts Meets. And if you want to navigate to this spot and open this location, this was from last year. This was our module last year. We did a training on this when we first went into remote learning last year. And I'm going to try something right now. It's hard because I've got all the tools in the way, but I'm in a Google slide presentation and I'm going to check out closed captioning, and I can change, it looks like I can change the position from the bottom. Let me put it at the top, if that will help. And if I click on this, now while I'm speaking, students can hear what I'm saying. So if I were teaching in Spanish, which I don't speak Spanish, I apologize, I can't test this out, then it would record and put up your closed captioning in Spanish. So this is a very good idea to be doing. The downfall of this, if everyone was in your Google Meet and you were recording this, you wouldn't be able to, because right now I see all of my team's faces on here. We're adults, we can record this. This might be something that you open up your Google Slides, and if you are instructing for a dual immersion class, you could technically record yourselves and have these closed captionings recorded at that time. It's an additional little step. As I'm searching down here though, and maybe Scott or anyone else, if you were looking, I do not see where you can change the language for it to translate automatically. So, but this is one option. I see that it's capturing my sentences pretty well. It's pretty well. Look at that. Even did my incorrect way of speaking.
What's cool, Lisa, is it's actually going to capture my sentences too.
Yes.
At some point. And so that's what I was saying earlier, like you as a student could actually set up, I mean, I would almost you would almost need like a separate monitor, I guess. I don't know, but right, if you needed to listen to something or read something as you were listening, it is an option. Right. On either end, like you don't have to be the one speaking. Or
now I see your closed captioning up there. Thank you, Scott, for that demo. So on this webinar, this was the hour-long session we did last spring to get the in-depth Google Meet, how it works. It has lots of slides, lots of features that you can explore through. It has how to use it to build community, whole class, small group, how to teach with it, providing feedback. It just goes on and on. Let's see. Here's a whole playlist about how to teach using Google Meet. That's a really good one. How to see your students while you're presenting, splitting your screens, super helpful just for your management. There's lots of little pieces in this that were added. Oh, you know what? I was looking for that last piece there, which has, these are the new updates that are in development. With breakout rooms and integrating Jamboard and polling and Q&A. There's lots of changes coming in Google Meets. This video gives you an overview of those changes, but they are not released yet. So I keep checking back to see when those will happen. So hopefully that is something that we'll be able to experience really soon. I know they're working on it. I checked a week ago and I do not see those rolled out. So this is just an option for you to explore from our website. Again, it's down on day 4 from communication. And it's a really important way to explore the multiple lessons down here with these 1-hour modules. I can't say that enough to everyone in the group that, I'm so sorry, I'm losing my voice. That there is a lot to be learning. And for me to demo it live is good sometimes, but you need it when you need it. So when you're home and you're working and you're trying to get ready for your lesson, and I'm not there, and you are maybe not remembering that live demo, it's really important to go back to some of these modules that might have your answers that you're looking for. But I also want to recommend, and I'm going to go to, I was demonstrating over here, and I do this all the time. Oops, if I go to YouTube, honestly, this is my secret. Sorry, I'm giving it away, everyone. This is what I will do. I will come on here and I will talk about, I will search it, closed captioning in Google Meets. And I'll just start searching for it using Google Meet with closed captioning, turning on closed captioning in Google Meet, and being able to go through and try some of these out. I do look at a lot of videos and to see, I check who's made them, the videos. I think that's very important as well. It's a lot of teachers on here making these. Sometimes you'll see,
I
what's
always
that?
check the date that it was made, you
Yes,
know, because
4
you
months
don't know how
ago.
Google updates so much, where
Yeah,
that video right there might be great, but 2 years old, you may be looking for some new features.
thank you so much. A lot of people talking about closed captioning because of what's been going on. So, I will do a little more research on there. We just started getting a ton of these emails over the weekend. And so I'll be looking at all of the options. But that is my number one way to be a good learner. The other thing I'll do is I'll just go to Google. Oops, I'm sorry, it did it again. It just auto generates. Just go to Google and I just start to search for options, because it's not always going to be video. And when I come here, it's sometimes I really do want to read blogs about it. So I kind of check. There's the G Suite updates, live captions in Google Hangout Meets. This was April in 2019. So there's pretty new article, and it's from Google. So that is going to be a good one that I would look at versus looking at someone's blog posts. I can also go from here and check out videos. And this is also, you see some of the same videos from YouTube. I make sure that I'm checking where those videos are coming from though. I'm only showing you this because as you're going through this and you are trying to figure all of this out, really important to just use some of these resources that are at your hands. That is oftentimes how we are trying to figure things out. We are either Googling it while we're on a call with you or trying to answer your questions, or going to YouTube and watching some videos and learning it really quickly. We honestly do not know everything about this. There's been so many new challenges that I can't even keep track of all of them. But let's just talk, before I begin and get into this, Scott, are there any questions anyone has so far in the chat? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Well, it's better. I've got more to say when I'm on mute. I was just going to say to the closed captioning thing, I really do think that the solution is going to be in some type of extension or something. There's got to be something that we can push out that would like apply universally, because it's come up in a lot of different conversations. So I know that's come up here a few times and Lisa acknowledged it, but there's been a lot of talk about that. And I don't know if we have a different solution at this point.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started in just a little bit about how this is just me chatting about how I use Google Meets. I use them a lot. It's kind of my go-to. I have to like get used to using Zoom because I have to go to my school account, or I have to just go to Zoom, where I tend to work a lot in my calendar. And when I set up a new calendar appointment is when I typically am setting up a Google Meet. Now you can see I could go to meet.google.com and I could join or start a meeting through here. Totally possible to do that. I'm just telling you, typically when I'm going to meet with someone, let's say I was meeting, I'm going to set up a meeting with Kelly today. Kelly needs help with some tutorials she's working on. And so I'm going to go to more options in my calendar. And I'm going to go ahead and add a Google Meet video conferencing here. And this is one of the reasons I do like this. Now, this is not a Zoom versus Google Meet session. So if I'm not doing a comparison right now, I'm just all Google Meets for this hour. And this is how my workflow goes. If I want to add Kelly, I will add her on here. Now imagine if Kelly was just one of my students. And I just really wanted to meet with one of my students and help them. I can leave a note for them here in the description and say, please use the Google Meet link attached to this invite. And so they will get that message. She'll get that message when I set that. It's not all day. It's going to be a specific time. Kelly, we're going to meet at 10, and I got my time zone right. And then I think I'm all set. Got my Google Meet set. So I'm going to save that, and it's going to send an invitation to Kelly. So now she's going to get that invite. And on here at 10 o'clock, when I go to that meeting, and I'm trying to figure out, how do I meet with Kelly now? Because I've set that and I know I have a Google Meet set up, and how do I even get into it? I just come back to my calendar. I click on the invite and it says join with Google Meet. So I would click that and open it up. And it's getting ready. I'll be able to join in just a moment. No one else is there. Oh, we're gonna go Matrix on us all here. I'm joining the meet. Oh gosh, is she gonna, you don't have to join in, Kelly, it's okay, because we'll be all double. So now I'm in a Google Meet in a Zoom. So this is kind of interesting, right? And within this Google Meet, the tools are a little different. I have some extensions on here that other people might not have. This view, it's just something I added in, I was playing around with when I want to raise my hand if I'm in a meeting. Again, that's why it might look a little different. I see I can turn on captions here. And as I play with this, the captions are not in any other language. But again, if I was teaching in dual immersion program, then it would then show my language that I was speaking in. So that is a little bit better. If I want to turn my microphone off, the tool is here. And so I can turn the microphone off. Oh, yep. It didn't do my closed captioning anymore. It stopped because it muted it. If I want to turn my camera off, I can turn my camera off here. But you can see when I'm talking, it still makes that pulsing visual there. If I want to present and share my screen from here, oh wow, I don't know if I could do that twice. Do you think so? That's very matrixy. I can either do my entire screen, or I could do a specific window, or I could do a Chrome tab. So I've got a lot of tabs showing here. I could show just a Chrome tab. Let me try that one. It's going to give me an option for which one I want to show. Maybe I'm just going to show the website. And there it is. Yeah, look at that. I'm screen sharing in a screen share. So that's kind of cool. And able to scroll through that. Yikes. Maybe this is a little too matrixy. Now I'm too far in. Because if I go to stop screen sharing, I can't find, oh, here it is. I'm presenting to everyone. I'm back. Maybe I can, we're presenting. Okay, stop presenting. Oh, phew, I was just getting a little worried there because I was worried that if I stopped screen sharing, from the Zoom call, you wouldn't be able to see this one, but here I am. Now, another feature in here is the chat. And if I want to chat with everyone, I can have the chat over here and I can type in, share your questions and click the arrow, and then the chat can continue with who's ever in there. So it's a good way I can put links in here. So if I wanted to share a link to a video or that collection, I can copy that link and I can drop it in here and then add it to the chat. It's a really nice way to hand out resources to people. And so the chat feature is an important piece to that. Let's see, what else do we have on here? We have the 3 dots. There's more options. And I can change the layout, it looks like, of my people when I have multiple people in here. That can be a little glitchy right now. I think they're going through changes, and whether you have add-ons on that are not agreeing with the new changes, you sometimes have to, if you can't see other participants, play around with changing layout, maybe pop out, pop back in. I know, Kelly, you've experienced that before, where you've had to re-enter the Hangout in order to see all the participants. Scott, were you going to speak to that?
Yeah, I was actually going to just say, Lisa, there was a question in the chat about what the kids have access on from their Chromebook, and I was wondering if you could drop in the chat the link, and I'll join from that demo student account real quickly.
Okay.
Specifically around the emojis and things. And I can't remember, there was an extension at one point, and some of it got built into Google Meets, and sometimes it's hard to differentiate. So Monica, I think to your question, I think the best way to do it would be to just dive right in. And the reason why my closed captioning still shows up on Lisa's is because since I'm not in her Meet yet, the only person in there is her.
Right, sorry, I'm playing around here. So, Scott.
All right, that's the wrong chat.
Oh. It's too matrixy for me.
It's been a long summer, everybody.
Holy cow. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing. It's a little confusing. All right, there's the Zoom meeting. Here's the chat. I had too many things going on. Okay, there's the chat now. Whew. And there's the invite. Okay. Forgive me as I'm managing these windows. Are you able to join that, Scott?
Yeah, I am. And let me do this. All right, my new favorite line. You guys all see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the, I believe, oops, I got the wrong link. Okay, hang on. It's not any better here. All right, let me copy that one. Sorry. All right, so this is just this is a demo middle school account that we have, and so students, they'd come in off of your link, and they'd be prompted just like this, and just like Lisa was. Let me sign in. Oh shoot.
Uh-oh, I have to remember that. Yes. How many of us are secretly cheering for him?
All right, let's try this again. So if I was logged in to my account and I came in, this is how it would be prompted. So by clicking off the link, it needs to access my camera and microphone. Okay, just the notifications. I would have to allow that. I don't know if you saw those pop-ups. Sorry, thank you. So I can turn on my camera. and I can turn on my microphone in there. But it looks like I still have those options to change the layout. It looks like I would need to add that extension still for the raise hand and a little
Yeah,
more.
that's just something I was playing around with. That's not a must have.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was just a fun little Google Meet extension I was testing. Sorry.
But you do have the tiled view now, which is cool, which was not. That was, you know, when that grid view extension first came out, that's what it was doing. But you can change the layout now, which is cool. Anyway, all right, I'm going to stop sharing.
So that, I'm sure you saw the one way that I shared that with Scott and got him into that really quickly. And I think that's another good trick there. I'm going to go back to screen sharing so that I can share some of those tips with you. Keep putting your questions in there. I appreciate my team answering while I'm going on. Oh, my middle school student has left.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. You don't have to stay. I was just going to show that. But all I did was while I was in the Google Meet, I copied this link and I dropped it into the chat of the Zoom. But I like another route as well. And I wanted to show you something that I worked with teachers last year. I just felt it was such a great option to do. And that is connecting with your Google Meets and your Google Chat, which is in your Gmail. So please ignore my emails right now. I'm just kind of bearing all to everyone. I'm in my email, and over on the left side, I want to direct you to, I have a chat feature here, and sometimes you can really see it, or sometimes it's not very visible. It's sometimes pulled way down here. And so you might have to play around with your Gmail settings in order to get Meet to show up and to be visible. And I sort of, this is my email settings for my inbox and all of my folders and tags. But I also have this feature here, and I'm going to drag it up so you can see it more. I can join meetings or start meetings from here, but I also have these Hangouts down here. And the Hangouts, I think, are invaluable, especially in the work that many of you are doing, where you're supporting students in classrooms. I worked with Sarah Gall last year, for example, and she wanted me to help a group of students. So over here, Sarah started a group chat, and here's the group chat right here. You can see in here how many people are in it. There was just 2 of us in this particular chat. Whoops. And she, I'm going to cancel that. And she started it with, hi Nina, Mrs. Heifel says she can help with your question. She's on this chat so you can explain the problem. And then she kind of went, bye. And I just worked with the child, the student. It was so great. And so then I took over. In the gray, this is me talking to her. Let me make it a little larger if it's a little bit small for you to see. And we were able to work. Now, I was actually coordinating with the student. I'm in a Hangout, and she was having trouble getting something to work. I sent her a screenshot, didn't work. If that doesn't work, I'm available to a talk. And I even put a Google Meet link in there, and or a Zoom link, either one you can do. And they were able to then join that link right away. And that was pretty amazing to have that kind of a collaboration. I also did another work with students who were working on a project. I'm looking for that chat. It was amazing. They were working on building a website. They had lots of questions. So I was in there to answer their questions. But then I said, oh, let's go ahead and do a Hangout from here. Now, let me show you how I would start this. I'm here at the top with myself, and I'm going to start a new one. I'll click the plus. And let's say I want to add students to this. Oops, there we go. I can do a new group, and I could do a group chat with a bunch of students. So I'm going to do Scott, because these are my partners here. Scott Padway. I'm going to put Kelly, and I'm going to put Eric. This is also good for you to do as a team. I highly recommend this. as your little teams, you have these group chats that you can do. So now I have this chat ready to go. If they were not there or added to this, you might have to add people on here and invite them to be a part of chats, and then they'll get a notification to accept that. But now that they're in there, I'm going to message them, hello team, and it's texting on your computer is what it really is. It's very quick. Here comes Scott. He's going to put a message in here. And if I want to notify someone really fast, hey, can you look something up for me? And then I can message them really quickly rather than sending multiple email threads and waiting for him to check his email. This is much faster. It's a little intrusive, right? Because it pops up. You're going to get a message. There's Eric now chatting in here. They can put pictures in here. They can put links. Be appropriate, team. I see you two over there. And that's a big part of this is because I'm in here monitoring them as the teacher with my students, even though we're a team, I'm teasing. They know that I have a record of this chat forever. So this chat has to be appropriate. So I can see if you're working with small groups, specific groups, create a little chat group with them, which I absolutely love that feature. If I want to then go and schedule a Google Meet for them, I could drop the link in here. I could drop a link to a Zoom in here. I know it has a camera here, and I could immediately click this and it would start. Oh, look, it's going to start a different kind of a Hangout. Oh my gosh, Hangout within Hangouts. This is a Hangout video call, and I don't want to confuse you. It is different than a Meets. Oh, look, we're all going in it. I'm going to hang up, you guys. Don't go in. I hung it up. It is different. So this little camera right here is a Hangout call. So now I've introduced, we have Google Hangout Meets, which is separate, kind of what's in your calendar. This is just very quick. It has different function, different tools. Same idea though, same kind of a quick little chat. I tend to just drop my Google Meet from calendar. I drop those links in for them. And I think that's the easiest way to be chatting. This is really, really a workflow that I wish more people would adopt in terms of your thinking. I'm just curious how you're thinking. So Scott said he can't join my Hangout because he's in a Zoom call. Yeah, multiple calls we're in. And then you can have it over here where you've got your small groups that you coordinate with. You can drop links, specific assignment links that they can then open. I think it eliminates a lot of email questions. You can ask your students to message you here when they have a question so that your office hours can be, you can tell them to respect your time in terms of you can't message me after, school hours or whatever your parameters are. But this could be really handy so that when a student is stuck and really needs you right then, you're not having to go back and check your email every 2 minutes to see what's happening or who's needing that, or it's, especially for young students who have to then learn how to email you. And this is a really quick way to just connect with them right away. I just highly recommend that. So again, you would go to your email, you would start your Hangouts, and you can invite people from here. You click the plus and you start new group. Now there's a lot of people on here that I've been messaging before. But again, you can just begin. You can enter an email for your students. That's a good way to do it when you start this. And many times their emails will just pop up as an option. All right, I'm going to stop screen sharing and see where we're at in terms of questions. You want to? We have 42 in here. I'm okay with cameras on, mics off. If you have a quick question. Or if they're in the chat, how are you feeling so far about?
Hey, Lisa, this is an unrelated question. We had a handful of people I've been texting and I'm emailing with who had trouble getting into the Zoom call for some reason. And I just wanted to confirm if anybody else was having that trouble with the link. When you clicked on the link, if you could just let us know if did it ask for a password or anything, or were you able to just click right into the Zoom call?
I talked to
I
a
got-
couple of people chimed in with me, and they were saying that they did have to be on their PUSD account. That was
Yes.
one thing.
Yeah, and I think I've got a few too. I think when you click the link to log into Zoom, and it'll prompt you to log in if you haven't been logged in, and you want to use the login with Google option, and just click the button that logs in with your Google account and use your school PUSD account right there, rather than actually typing in any credentials into Zoom. You'll just use the login with Google button, and that should get you in.
Kevin, you have a good question. He asked in the chat, would I create a group for each class? And I think that's too big, way too big, too many kids. But I have been hearing lots of clever ideas. Teachers are kind of creating Zoom groups. You know, so if you do breakout rooms in Zoom, like let's say you've got 4 kids in a breakout group, to be honest, I think that's a really good idea, is to get your classes in groups of 4. And they could be like their own learning team. And so that when they have questions on the homework, they can know to go to each other first, you know, and they have that resource on their own. Then when you're in breakout groups, you can set those up ahead of time for Zoom, not Google Meets yet. And that would be their learning team. So they could like have live face-to-face meetings, and then you can jump in those. And then you might also set up those in 4s in this Google Meet chat. And then they also have that chat feature. And if you set them up, then you're technically in those chats monitoring it. Not that you're watching it all the time, but then if a question, you can check in on those groups and say really quickly, instead of emailing all 4 kids, you could just say, how's this group doing on this project? Did you guys have any questions? As a group, they can ask you, instead of getting a question emailed to you from each person. I think if you break it down into groups, that could be, you know, you're dealing with 8 per class, and that might make it more manageable, or so, you know, depending on how many students you have.
And then I'd have to put them in individually though, right, at their email addresses and so on.
When
so
you first form those.
start. Okay.
Yeah, and I really see this as quite a workflow, that once you set that up and you really teach the kids and walk through it, you notice that we're in a Zoom and I'm walking through Google Meet while we're in the Zoom. Didn't work the other way around. So you might even do that. You might just open up your email that first days, say, here's how the chat's going to work. I was looking for ways to help your workflow so you're not getting so many emails, because that's going to become a new job for you, is answering emails. And I want you to be able to spend time instructing the students and not just trying to get through emails. And I just see these teams. I know as I watched my own son learning at home remotely, he was stuck and was waiting for the professor to answer. And I'm like, who are the people in your class? Who can't you ask some of them? And he said, I don't even know them. I don't even know who's in the class. So as a way to sort of build those communities, you can drop links to the specific groups, which kind of would be interesting to differentiate and say, hey, my team is really stuck on this. Can you help us out? And I just think that might solve some of that, getting to that a little more individualized help without doing it one-on-one. At least it's 4 to 1. You can come back to me in a couple of weeks and be mad when I just
see how that goes.
created a whole new mess. It's okay to say, everyone, that did not work. We're not doing chat group. I would warn your students, and this is always good to share with them, that if anything in Google is always there and always recorded. So if you go in to search, let's say I was searching for Kelly Hilton in my Gmail, all of my former chats with Kelly will show up in Gmail. So there's a recorded collection of everything that's written in those Google chats. And students need to know that administrators can see anything that they're doing in their Google accounts can be read by school administrators. So if they think they're going in there and having this private chat and talking about Mr. O'Day, you're just gonna be like, I saw that. I can see that.
Yeah.
It's Google. They have a record of it. So do let them know that in terms of, I know people get worried about kids having chats on the side, but everyone, guess what? Kids are chatting on the side all the time. They're not using Zoom. They're not using Google Meets either. They have their special ways.
And I just, sorry, go ahead, Kevin.
Oh, nothing. You can go ahead, Scott, if it's related to this.
Yeah, I was just going to kind of piggyback on, being upfront about digital citizenship, and just it's a different conversation now. It's not a different conversation now, but it's just more important than ever, right? I mean, this is our mode of communication. I would also empower kids to learn how they can, chat, to ask questions with each other and actually create their own learning groups. I mean, there's different approaches to it. You don't actually have to necessarily make them all, right? I mean, it can be a tool. And I found for my workflow, like if you send me an email now, I just respond to you in the chat. And for most people, it just pops up. And I've found that most things are a conversation, right? And if I'm going to respond to you with, can you clarify that and ask some more questions? And you respond back. And the next thing you know, we've just 15 emails later haven't gotten anywhere. And so they're just workflow things. But you got to teach the kids. You got to explain where you want them to ask each other for help. And the chat is one avenue. If you're using Classroom, you can, be explicit in where they would ask if they have a question on a certain assignment. But the more you can empower them to help each other. And the other piece to it is too, like these Zoom calls are really, they're intense for a lot of people, especially if there's not a lot of interaction. It's one person talking and there's no more whispering, there's no more sidebar conversations. And so how you can help facilitate some of that, because I think that, having someone to process your thinking out loud as it's happening is a really valuable, piece to learning. Anyway.
I do want to emphasize though, and be very careful of this day and age of instant, I have a question, I'm going to message you and you need to answer me, teacher, right now. And you have to be very careful with that and setting up that expectation. So I think as a teacher or as a support provider, you have to be able to build that kind of understanding that in this instant world, you can't always be there to answer your question instantly. I worry about their they just ask first without sitting in that struggle a little bit as well. And so that's why I like these groups of 4 that I really would instruct to talk to each other first and come to me, the instructor, with a group question when you haven't been able to figure that out. I think that is a really important learning strategy to one of our new responsibilities is to help our students learn how to be good learners in this environment. I think that is kind of the new teaching point in the room. I'm not in the classroom with you. You can't always have your question answered immediately. How can I help you best be a good learner? And so I showed you in the very beginning, I was trying to model that by taking you to the website. So if you have a website with all your resources, where to find answers, that was the first thing I showed you. The second thing I showed you was how to go to YouTube and search for your answer. And then the third thing is how to Google it and how to search for it and then look for, could have gone in longer about credibility. We did talk about when the articles were written. And those are things that I would actually explicitly teach to your students. I think that's really important. The other piece I wanted to share with you is that your phone can be really helpful as well. And I have on my phone a Hangouts app. You can see it up there. I have messages. So in my Hangouts app, and you can have multiple accounts on here. Here's my school account. I have that same chat that was going on my computer, on my phone. And you can turn on notifications, turn them off. It will drive you nuts getting all the beeps. But it's kind of handy to have this. If you're used to more being mobile and on your phone, you can definitely be taking pictures, or, there's lots of features along the bottom. I'm sorry, that's terrible. You can't see that. But it's really, maybe that's a good workflow for you as well. if you're not on your computer all the time, I just think if you can see someone's question and if they're in like frustration breakdown mode, that's something I would answer right then. In order, you can really resolve some of those issues. I'm one for more communication versus less in order to bring some relief and stress, but also not creating bad habits in students. Really teaching them to do some of that work and that learning.
Speaking of stress, I'm in the same boat as Bree is. Bree asked a question here about how I was planning on using Zoom, but I have a student who is hard of hearing and needs closed captioning. And I like the idea that Bree put there about, I don't know, sort of maybe a comparison, like here's what you can do with Zoom, here's what you can do with Google Meet, and I'm having to switch everything up as a result, kind of.
Yeah, I'm thinking, and team might be able to help me with this one. I think we did have that comparison in the Zoom module.
Okay, I didn't.
Yeah, we do have that. I can drop it in the chat. It's a Padlet where everyone's been kind of sharing the pros and cons to both. I mean, this is kind of all the decisions that teachers are making.
Oh, okay. So you want pros and cons about the closed captioning?
Well, I mean, but like the and then what Bree said, that specifically about that.
Okay.
I know everyone is getting on that, and we will definitely, Kevin and Bree specifically, because you have to meet that student's needs right away. If you, Bree, would you email me that question and CC Kevin? That way I'll get you on that thread. See, I did it wrong. I should have had you start a Google chat. Look at Eric. Will you start a Google chat with me? And then I'll drop you any information. I can't believe I just did that.
Perfect.
Yeah, because we've been working with the deaf and hard of hearing SPED manager, and we were just told Zoom doesn't have closed captioning. You just have to use Google Meet.
Oh.
And I know that they're not trying to be mean about like that's just the options, but it seems like you can do a Google Doc, you can do Google Slide, you can do all these things, but there's one little caveat for everything. So we can. Right. That's specifically what we wanted to look at.
May I ask that you include Ana Zavala in that text or communication, Bree and Kevin, because I have the same issue. I was just told Friday at 5 p.m.
Okay.
And then added the Spanish to the challenge. Thank you.
We will, I'll look and see. I can hopefully communicate with Amy Nichols soon. And if it is a feature coming in Zoom or something that needs to be enabled by the administrator side.
I searched on Google, and Zoom does have a feature for closed captioning, but it's not available in the actual program we have right now. But there's videos posted on how to add the closed captioning for Zoom, but I guess it has to be included in the program or account that it's contracted by our district.
Yeah, so if you, Anna, why don't you drop that information into the chat that's getting formed? That would be helpful. And then I can share that with Amy and she can give me an affirmative or no, that's not going to happen.
I will, thank you.
Yeah, nice way to share that info. I just got a message from Bree. Everyone. So I have my notifications on. All right. Thanks so much for starting that. Any other questions about this? This was, again, a really informal way to do this. I have the Google, our initial module. I thought I had that. Did someone already drop that in there? Our Google Meet module?
Oh, no. One question on the chat that I wanted to give you a chance to respond to was just groups. You know, there are some extensions out there for forming groups in Google Meet, and they are so largely untested, and just wanted you to respond to that real quick.
You know, extensions pop up so fast. Anyone can make these. Anyway, I can make an extension. I don't know how to code extensions, but they pop up. You saw I had the little hand raising one. You have to be careful with them when you add them because sometimes it can mess up the functionality of your Google Meet, possibly. I've had that. I had to quickly uninstall it. So that's all exploratory, and it's really good for you to try those kinds of things, that you explore extensions that help and boost the what you're trying to do. I always recommend to people, try it out. If you're with students and you're saying, I'm trying something. Right now, I have an extension on, I saw my teammates teasing me in the chat because I'm glowing in my, I have an extension on, I can't turn it off. And it's snap camera, and it's supposed to make me look better, which I don't think it's working, but I can't turn it off yet. And I haven't had a moment to go back in and turn the snap camera off, which is hilarious. So be careful when you put on extensions, what you wish for. At least I don't have pink hair from the snap camera. At least I don't have that turned on. So yes, please do explore these things and share them with each other. We started that idea of like share with your teammates and say, hey, this really worked for me. And then let's start spreading these best practices. We're trying to do that with the Google Chat and spread it around so that lots of teachers around the district have that workflow. I saw someone in the chat had said, I wish everyone knew that. So thank you, Kelly, for dropping those. I seem to be like all messed up on my, oh, here it is, our PD site as well. Someone had asked for that. I'll drop that in here. So if you want to come back to what we did a week ago with all of our modules, I just dropped it in, the link to the website where you can go back through and explore. There's so much in there. It's actually a lot of rabbit holes. So, you know, you can kind of pick what you need. If you're a visual person, you want to hear it, watch the 1-hour webinar because we kind of walk you through it. If you just want to read, look at the slide presentations. And then if you want to get a module on a specific tool, those are down at the very bottom of that page in the 1-hour modules. So kind of pick the way you like to learn. There's a variety of things.
And I'm just looking at the time, and I think we will start to transition. I'm going to end this recording, and then we'll transition to our next hour.
Thank you. And I need to close tabs so that I can